Okay, the first thing we need to do is take the cover off the machine. You got two covers to take off here. I'm taking a small screw, it's like a drywall screw, and you put it in these little caps, and you turn them, and that way you can pull out the caps. So remove all the caps, and over here on this side there's two more here. And one here. And then behind every hole there's going to be a screw, and you want to take out all the screws out of all the holes. Then you want to remove this one screw right here off the top of the arm. There's some little washers. You want to be sure and keep hold of those washers. Don't lose those. Okay, I've got all the screws out now from all the holes. So this one cover here, this is probably the hardest one to get out. You take that out, and then the whole side cover. Let me tilt and pan here a little bit. Okay. You want to get this one off. I don't know if you see, you kind of have to lift. Let me see if I'm getting that good. Here, come over here. This one here, you have to pick up and pop it out, and that takes the cover off. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, let me get down here where we can see it, is we're going to remove this small circuit board right here. There's two screws that hold this circuit board on. I'm going to take that off next. And then this board we can just peel off over to the side. The board that you're going to replace is this one right here with this ribbon cable. So I'm going to pull the cable out from underneath this little retainer right here. I'm going to trace it down. I'm going to come down here, tilt down a little bit more, and unplug it. So I've got the cable unplugged. I'm going to snake it out, and out it comes. I'm going to get some more light so we can see inside the machine and show you how to replace the board. Okay, now the board, here's the cable, here's the bracket that holds the board, and I'm assuming you can see this screw right here. I've got a magnetic tipped Phillips head screwdriver because you do not want to drop this screw into the machine. You can see this little wheel. Let me hold my finger right here. See this? Get my finger out of the way. That little wheel that rotates on that main shaft, that goes through that sensor, and that senses the hand wheel position. And that little photo eye in that sensor has more than likely gone bad on your machine, and that's why you're having to replace this bracket. So that's out. Now I'm going to show you how to put the new piece back into this bracket. Okay, here's the bracket. You have just the cable and the board. You don't have the bracket because the bracket's in your machine. This one screw right here, you take this screw out and you'll remove the circuit board, and just looking real carefully you can see how there's the screw hole right there. The sensors are lined up. Take it apart, put it back together again. There's a little indentation right here, and there's a little hole in the board. Make sure that you get this lined up so that that board goes back with that hole sticking up through that little indentation right there, and reassemble it. And then we'll put it back in the machine now. It's just the reverse of what you did. As we reassemble it, we want to be real careful. See how flexible this little wheel is here that turns? I'm going to take my bracket, take my screw. I've got the screw in the bracket. I've got my screwdriver up against the screw, holding it in place, and then as I run this in there, I'm real careful. I don't want to bang that little wheel. And I just start turning until I feel the screw start to catch. There we go. Now, I'm looking at that little disc on that main shaft, and I'm putting it right in the center. You probably, with all my hands in the way, you can't see it, but you'll see it as you're installing it. You can, there's one spot where that bracket needs to be. There's a little indentation up the top that'll fall in a spot, but you want that little wheel right there to run right in the center of that sensor. And take your cable, run it back down through the retainer, pull it back down behind those two right here, bring it down. There's two little ridges on the top of the bracket. They face inside. Let me tilt down here. Okay, I've got my two little ridges right here up, and the ridges face to the inside, the little ridges on the top. Plug it. You gotta get it right in the right spot or it won't go in. It's hard to do this and film at the same time. There we go. Alright, it's in. I want to reassemble the bracket up top here. Put my screws back in. Let's see if I'm getting good video here. No, let's tilt that up. Put this back on in its place. Put both screws back in, and then we'll start with the covers in just a second. Okay, as I reassemble the covers, I want to make sure I don't grab any of my cables. Got to get up underneath this screw. Let me see if I got to work up underneath this screw right here. And you just kind of got to wiggle around a bunch till you get it back in place. It'll snap in. Then you start taking your screws back, run those in place. The top cover, make sure I got some video of that, I get in the right spot there. Okay, top cover goes in. And everything kind of clips together. I'm holding it in place, run my screw. Finish up all the screws, put all the caps back in, and that should be it. Should be good to go. Let me know if you have any problems. Thanks.